buddy.
Hmm.
Thanks. Have fun. All right. We are here at Acock Stadium for a huge LIS field hockey battle today. Got the Collegiate Cougars coming across town to face the host Trinity Episcopal Titans. And what we got here, Cooper, is the Cougars ranked fourth in the state in field hockey. Titans ranked second. So we got a top five battle. Two teams that played a couple weeks ago and had a really tight competitive game that Trinity was able to pull out 2-0 thanks to Valentina Ambrosi Torres' 28 saves. But I know talking to a lot of the Titan players today, they're expecting that they're in for a super competitive, tough battle. What are you expecting to see out here today, Coop?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see probably another nice low scoring, really probably majorly defensive game, even if the ball does flip flop a lot, because both the teams, as we've seen, have a absolutely gnarly counterattack, and both teams are very well equipped to move that ball quickly from their defensive third into the opponent's box and open up scoring opportunities. But I think both these defenses are going to stand strong. My prediction is going to be a 2-1 game for the Trinity Titans.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I definitely agree with you that this is probably a game in which goals are going to be at a premium. The Titans are coming off a 2-1 win, that same score line that you just predicted in their last game, which was Saturday against Cape Henry Collegiate, a really strong program out of Virginia Beach. So Titans come in having won a few in a row since they lost to Cox High School I guess that was about 2.5 weeks ago now. Cox, number 5 team in the country. Titans went down to Virginia Beach to battle them and did lose that one. But since then, they have not suffered another defeat. And I'm just looking out there. I don't actually see Valentina, but maybe I'm
Yeah, I
maybe I'm
saw. I thought I could have sworn I saw her warming up. Maybe.
okay. Maybe she just had to do a few last minute preparations. But the Cougars, I mean, they're really having a strong season. As we said, when these teams played before, uh, Valentina was pushed into making 28 saves, so that shows you that Collegiate had a ton of offensive opportunities. And also, I was told today they had 17 corners in that game. We've been here for several games this year, and even when the Titans have been dominant, I don't know that we've ever seen them have 17 corners
Hmm.
in one game. So I do think Collegiate poses a lot of threat. We obviously know Trinity is a fantastic team, number 2 in the state, LIS champions for I think 7 years in a row. So should be just a great battle. I've been really looking forward to this one ever since we put it on the TESPN schedule back in August. So this should be one of the best contests we've seen, not just in field hockey, but in any of our broadcasts this whole fall. And we are about to get it kicked off here. Cougars have taken the field. Titans still getting a few last-minute instructions from Coach Sneed.
Yeah, and I do see the Titans. It looks like I cannot quite tell which way it's oriented, but it's looking like they might go on to 1-3-4-2.
Okay.
So, just from what I could see from the clipboard there, pulling a
Oh.
little Astros maneuver, stealing the signs. But I think this is going to be a really close game, as we've already mentioned. I'm really excited. Both these teams, there's a very good chance that they might see each other again in states.
Yep.
I think this is a great precursor and is another great test for this Titans field hockey team, who, even though they have suffered I believe, two defeats this year,
Hmm.
they're still an incredibly strong program and looking to take home another state championship, which I see in the making for them.
Yeah, I mean that's always the goal for this program. They've won 3 state championships in the last 6 years, and would be 3 and 5 if not for there was no state tournament last year. And prior to that overtime loss at Norfolk Academy back in September, Titan Field Hockey had won over 50 games in a row. So an incredibly strong program. As we do see Valentina out there now, that was just she got, I think, caught in the mass of bodies in the pregame huddle. I didn't see her, but Valentina's out there. She was our athlete of the week 2 weeks ago for TESPN with her huge 28 save performance the last time these teams met, and I'm sure she's going to be called in for plenty of action again today. So Lainey Nichols gets us going here, and the game has begun. And we'll see what patterns of play emerge. Cougars choose to go back to try and go forward. And
Yeah, and it looked like the Titans were off that face-off there. They looked like they were going for a quick push into Collegiate off the kickoff as opposed to playing it from the back. And now Collegiate does have possession.
yeah, it looks like Madeline Curtis bringing the ball forward in the center of the midfield, the senior captain. And now they get it out wide. And over on that left wing, that looks like, I think it's Callie Rogers, I believe, number 16. Understand she is a very threatening player for the Cougars, but Titans did a nice job there of dispossessing Rogers. Now it comes over to the Cougars' right side, and Sarah Murphy Payne with a good interception, but it does go off her foot to give the possession back to Collegiate. And there is the speedy Olivia Schminke. We notice, Cooper, I'm sure you notice as well, that she has changed her footwear since we were last here for field hockey. She had those orange shoes that looked really cool, and she kept falling down. So
Yeah.
Schminke now going with the Carolina blue footwear. Hopefully that'll keep her on her feet as that ball rolls out of bounds. And the Titans will get possession with Mary Hazel Davis over on the Titans' right. Davis brings it in, and she goes with a big hit up to Carson Beatty, the freshman who's had a fantastic year. And that's a great ball by Beatty as she plays it in to
Johnson.
Yeah, Ellie Johnson out there. And that ball's going to be saved. Nice job by the Cougars there to keep it in play.
Yeah, and it's looking like so far this game. I mean, obviously we are only 2.5 minutes in, but it's looking like the Titans are gonna have to slow things down, maybe more than they're used to against this fierce, fierce Collegiate midfield and defense. Because so far the Collegiate has been putting up a high press.
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes.
So possession there. I guess it did just trickle across the sideline and out of bounds to the Cougars, and they bring it in. Looks like number 26, Maria Bonwell, another senior. And that was well anticipated by Beatty, but she couldn't quite get a stick on it. And it goes back into the center, and Madeline Curtis goes forward to 16, Callie Rogers. And again, Mary Hazel Davis does a nice job dispossessing her, as we expect those two to probably battle a lot today. Out to the right to Carson Beatty, and she has it taken off her stick by Izzy Lee, number 1 for the Cougars. It was really nice defense there by Lee, and Lee plays it out of the back to
Catherine Roche, who's an 8th grader on this team, so.
Yeah, she's got to be really good to be starting on varsity as an 8th grader for the Cougars. And Darcy Kopsinis, the Titans number 17, intercepts. But there's a lot of lines on this field, and Darcy took it across the field hockey sideline. But now Darcy's able to get it back, and she plays it up to Ellie Johnson, her classmate and good friend. And Johnson now has that ball hit off her foot. And yeah, right now, about 4 minutes in, neither team really able to connect too much. Both teams continue to feel each other out. You see a lot of effort, but also maybe a little bit of nerves early on. And that is going to be possession to the Titans back out top.
Yeah, and we'll see. This is probably the first structured attacking chance for the Titans.
Yeah, they're able to get it into the circle, albeit briefly, and a nice job by Kate Smigelski, another young player, the 9th grader, does a nice job there for the Cougars to steal it, but possession again turns back over. I don't know that either team has connected more than 2 passes in a row thus far, as possession just keeps going back and forth. And the Titans go back to Sarah Jane Ryan, and her pass out for Mary Hazel Davis finds the far bleachers or bench, I should say, and back to the Cougars. Yeah, right now again, like I said, just looks like a little bit of nervousness and both teams pressuring each other. That as that ball skips off the stick of Bonwell, and we're
And
just waiting for one team to really. I think both these teams like to possess the ball, like to connect passes, but they're really kind of canceling each other out here in the early going.
yeah, I think one of these teams at the end of the day, if they want to find success, my prediction, they're going to have to slow it down and try to
Hmm.
beat the high press because, I
Yeah,
mean, at this point, it's like they're playing hot potato with it. I mean,
right. I mean, Olivia Schmicky just had the ball taken off her stick. You don't see that happen very often. So a nice job by the Cougars defensively, and they look to slip it through to Mary Catherine Bross, but a good job intercepting by Sarah Jane Ryan. But now it goes out of bounds again, and it's going to be possession of the Cougars back out top as Darcy Copson has intercepted that pass, but she wasn't quite able to control it. I think that did the Titans just sub? I thought that
yeah,
I thought Ella Shirey was in. I see her on the bench now. Um,
trying to figure out who went in. Looks like
yeah,
it might have been
good.
Ava Benson.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good save by Valentina there. Her first save of the day, and now Mary Hazel Davis brings it out. She's under a lot of pressure, but she did really well. And you're exactly right, Cooper. Ava Benson checked in for the Titans. And that's another great ball by Mary Hazel Davis. She's off to, I think, a really good start with 2 steals and a couple nice passes. And this has been the best counterattack we've seen as the Titans. But ultimately, Beatty couldn't find Schminke there as that ball was intercepted by Madeline Curtis. And she's been a really impressive presence for the Cougars as we are 7 minutes into quarter number 1, still scoreless on an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous fall day. I think
Oh,
every time we've been here for field hockey, we've been blessed with unbelievable weather, and it just doesn't get any better than this. Not a cloud in the sky, 72 degrees. Right now, the field pretty much bathed in sunshine, but as this game progresses, you'll see the shadows will start to crawl across this field and make it all the more dramatic as we head into the latter stages of this game.
yeah, and this is what I really thought it was going to come down to pregame. As I mentioned at the start of the game, it's going to be a lot of counterattacking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be really hard if you try to possess it like both these teams love to. It's going to be very hard to break it down.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I think you're exactly right, Cooper, and that's where you saw really the best opportunity the Titans have had was when they were able to counterattack. Yeah, fighting against a set defense when they've got 8, 9, 10 players behind the ball. Both these teams are just so well coached and well organized. It is going to be really tough to break them down. But the Cougars doing a nice job here, although that ball does trickle out and it will go for possession to Trinity. But I did think Collegiate, really for the first time today, did connect several passes in a row there, but nothing of any true threat. But still, you see maybe players starting to relax a little bit, and some of the unforced errors we saw early, not as many errors, and that's a nice job by the Titans playing it around the back. That's a really clever pass by Darcy Copsonis to Laney Nichols, and this is the best passage of play that the Titans have had yet as the ball finds Ava Benson. But before we were saying neither team could complete more than 2 passes in a row. Now each team has brought that up to 3 or 4, but they still can't find that final ball. But the Cougars have a really nice counterattack on here. And a good job by Sarah Jane Ryan to intercept and just play it out and allow it to go back out top, and the Titans able to reorganize. So I think both teams look the best they have yet as a long ball comes in. Of course, can't score from outside that circle, but I think Madeline Curtis just kind of hit and hope that that ball might catch a stick of a teammate or even a Titan and deflect in, but it did not. Sarah Jane Ryan back to Kendall Fleet, and
and
now it goes up the line again with Ava Benson. And that ball
And I feel like this is
Goes out.
really, in the end, it's probably going to come down to a game of who's better conditioned because there's been a lot of running, a lot of back and forth. And although this is really, I guess, the first time Collegiate's had sustained possession in a half, I feel like this is probably, in the end, going to go back to the running more of what we saw at the start, where it was a lot of running back and forth and seeing which team can have the most impactful subs and the best.
Yeah, and speaking of subs, the Titans have put another sub on with Shepard Ramsey coming into the game and giving Ellie Johnson a break. So Coach Sneed gone to the bench twice here in the early going. Collegiate, I believe, has yet to sub. Uh, and to your point about conditioning, I mean, Coach Sneed's teams are always extremely fit. And then the Cougars, coached by Karen Doxey, also their athletic director, she's been a real just legend as a coach and administrator over at Collegiate, and there's no doubt in my mind that she'll have her team well conditioned. So I agree that fitness will be a factor, but who will benefit remains to be seen. As the ball comes out to Shepard Ramsey, and Shep plays it to Mary Hazel Davis, who looked to me like she was kind of obstructed there, but they're going to call Davis for a push.
Yeah, and
Little bit unfortunate there for Mary Hazel Davis, who's been off to a great start. And yeah, you can see that formation you talked about from looking at the tactics board. It's a pretty clearly defined. It looks like 2-3-3-2 right now as the Titans set up. Although at times it then morphs into just one up top, and one of the forward players tends to drop. And now we have Ella Shirey coming back in for Ava Benson. So it looks like those top positions, Coach Snead just rotating, keeping fresh legs in. And Ava Benson did well, but now Ella Shirey comes in with fresh legs, part of that really talented group of sophomores that we see out here. And Lainey Nichols there did well to bring it forward, but ultimately, once again, Madeline Curtis plays a big part in dispossessing Nichols.
yeah,
And
and an uncharacteristic miss. She just seemed to miss her turn there, and it's just seems like both these teams are so nervous to do nothing wrong that they're both making mistakes.
yeah, that ball deemed to have been illegally played in by Kendall Fleet. Yeah, and sometimes also, I mean, I think from the games we've seen, and again, still first quarter, but Collegiate just looks maybe a little bit stronger defensively than at times when we've seen Nichols and Schmicky just able to go by defenders as if they were not even there. That has not been the case with these Cougar defenders. Just Titans haven't been able to blow by them as of yet. Good job there by Ella Shirey to intercept, and she looked to play a leading ball out to Mary Hazel Davis, but there again is Madeline Curtis. She has been a really steady presence in the sort of defensive center mid role, or at least that's what we would call it in soccer, where she has just thwarted the Titan attacks and then gotten the Cougars moving. And that ball bounced off of, I believe, Copson, so it goes to Collegiate, but the Titans unable to clear that one, and now Callie Rogers showing off her moves, and she was obstructed and earns our first corner of the game. We'll go to Collegiate. So Callie Rogers comes in with a big reputation. A lot of the Titan players mentioned her as someone to really keep an eye out for today. Rogers, the sophomore, I believe rated as one of the top sophomores in the entire country, and you saw why there as she used her skills to really put herself in a good position that ultimately leads to this corner. And that ball is played in, cleared off the line, and it will go out to the Titans, as I believe it was Darcy Copsonis who was able to clear that ball. That ball was bound for goal, but Copsonis did well to clear it off the line. And now the Titans quickly counter Mary Hazel Davis, showing off that speed out to Shep Ramsey. And good job there by Izzy Lee. But Davis wins it back and puts it back out to Ramsey. And she battles with, I believe that's number 8, Amanda Tan. And now the Cougars bring it forward with Catherine Roush. Go ahead, Coop.
This is probably the first time I've really seen this Titans team really been locked out of possession because we've seen them play many times. They love to keep the ball. They know when they're in control. And this is now as the first quarter ends. I think Coach Need's going to have a lot of questions for our team because it's been, I'd say, really probably an uncharacteristically sloppy game. A couple misplaced passes, some just they're just missing the ball on their runs, just not quite on the same page. And outside of I'd say one or two really nice Laney Nichols runs, they haven't gotten the ball into the collegiate half that much.
Yeah, I think a pretty even first quarter, but maybe you have to say maybe Collegiate edged it a little just in terms of they are the only team that was able to have a corner opportunity. And Valentina Ambrosi Torres was forced into a couple of saves. I'm not sure that the Cougars keeper has really had to do much yet. So slight edge to the Cougars. It's certainly not like it's been an assault on the Titan cage, but the Cougars clearly are out here ready to play. And I do think sometimes the Titan field hockey team benefits from they've just been so good for so long and have so much talent and are so well coached that a lot of times just they have that psychological advantage going in. And the Cougars have matched them toe to toe so far. So you got to give Collegiate credit for a strong first quarter, but also, like you said, I think Coach Snead is going to get the Titan girls settled down. Coach Bowling now drawing some stuff up on the whiteboard as well. And it's important we mention, of course, Coach Snead, the legend. So many Coach of the Year awards. It's not even I can't even count that high, but it's a whole staff with Coach Bowling, Coach Nichols, Coach Ambrosi Torres. All are huge contributors, and Miss Snead will be the first to tell you she can't do it without her great staff. And you can see really all the Titan coaches getting a word in here at this first quarter break.
Yeah, and I think really the questions for right now of the Titans has to be coming out of that midfield because the offense they've Coach Snead made the decision to only put up two, which normally I feel like they normally have two, three, usually a striker and then two people on the wings. But I think Coach Nee probably thought that she should play this more defensively, leave an extra person in the midfield, and also giving herself another. I think they're playing with two sweepers as opposed to the normal one.
Yeah, and like you said, or like we said earlier, when these teams met, I'm pretty sure it was exactly 2 weeks ago today over at Collegiate's field. The Cougars had 17 corners, had 28 shots on goal. So maybe that just played into Coach Need's thinking a little bit that just didn't want to be quite so wide open. Now, ultimately, the Titans were able to find a way to get the win that day. I believe it was scoreless until the fourth quarter, and then Trinity ends up winning 2-0. And I think that second goal came like in the final seconds of the game. So they got a lead late in the game in the fourth quarter, and then a clinching goal in the last minute of the game. And so maybe it's also a matter of just being patient, like they were in that previous contest.
But
And
then the other thing is that I'm wondering is I haven't watched every single Titans field hockey practice, but you always, especially when you switch up their formation from one week to something that they have not played much with, how comfortable the players are in it.
yeah, wow. Olivia Schmicky got tripped up there. That was not the shoes, but that was an opponent tripping her up. But really good job there defensively by Amanda Tan. Again, when we've been here before, you've almost never seen the ball taken off a Schminky stick the way Tan just did. So Cougars defense is good, and you got to give them credit. As now number 19, Catherine Roush brings it forward and brings it deep into the corner. And that ball still in, and now the whistle blows, and it will be possession to the Titans. I'm sorry, correction. That is going to be Cougar ball out top, and Cougars playing it around the back. That's Izzy Lee to Madeline Curtis, and Curtis wins that 50-50 ball, and she plays it in Ball pops up, and I think it's going to be a corner.
Looks like it might have called a high stick there.
Yeah. Um, we've seen Curtis do that a couple times now where she just gets in there and just plays it as hard as she can and takes her chances and see what happens. And that it resulted in a corner. So uh, good stuff by the Cougars. Titans get their eyewear on, and here we go. Corner comes out to Rogers, plays it back to Lee. Tough angle, and that shot went just wide. But a well-designed play by Coach Doxey and her staff. Other collegiate coaches, Kelsey Smither, M.H. Bartson, and Frankie Conklin. And they have the Cougars for sure ready to play so far today.
And then the Titans have just been losing a lot more 50-50 balls than I'm used to see them losing. I feel like Collegiate's really been wanting this game so far, and they've been dominating possession in a way I'm sure Coach Snead can't like.
Yeah, but here comes Laney Nichols, and right now, yeah, it does look like the Titans content to try and play on the counter, and this counter is promising as Nichols has a couple to aim for. What a move there. She is able to go by the defender, put it on, shot just wide, and that probably, even though it did not force the keeper Tucker Walker into a save, I think that was probably the best chance yet for the Titans. As
Completely agree. If Ellie Johnson just got her stick on that, that would have been
Johnson
would have had no chance.
Johnson was in really good position, but she just wasn't quite able. That ball came in with a lot of pace and went past her just barely, and the Cougars will take over possession over in their own defensive half, and they look to play it around the back as Maria Bonwell played it to Izzy Lee, but the Titans putting pressure on with Ellie Johnson. Double team there from Carson Beatty, and Beatty showing off that speed as she looks to come around, but she did impede number 14 there, Sealy Shield. I think that's the first time we've had a chance to call Shield's name today. Another freshman out there for the Cougars. So Olivia Schminke pressuring Curtis, and she does create a turnover. And Titans looking to go quickly here as we hear some fans calling for them to really play it back in quickly. Laney Nichols again gets down that wing. She's able to keep it in play. And then it did go off the foot of the Cougar player, and the Titans going to have their first penalty corner of the day. We know they've had a lot of success scoring when we've been here before, Coop. And these last couple minutes have been the best passage of play we've seen yet for the Trinity Episcopal Titans.
Completely agree, and I think a lot of that's because they put Laney Nichols out wide, in which Collegiate has been. I wonder, the formation haven't quite been able to tell, but it looks like they're doing three at the back, and they're leaving a lot of space on the wings down near their own goal with less defense. And I think Coach Snead addressed that, put Laney Nichols out wide.
Yeah, that ball comes out top to Mary Hazel Davis into Schminke, and it's really a battle for it right now with Darcy Kopsenis. Still no whistle, and finally the Cougars able to clear it out as that was well done. I think it was Amani Kimball McCavish who finally was able to get it out of the circle. And it will, though, the Cougars able to get it to safety, but it will be possession to Trinity and Darcy Kopsenis. And now whistle blows again as the official wants the Cougars to back off a little and give Kopsenis some more space. And one thing that has always, well, I say always, in the handful of times we've been out here this year has impressed, I think you and I both, about Darcy Kopsenis is just her poise with the ball in her stick. She just never seems to get rushed. And I actually talked to Darcy about this, and she said, yeah, that's coaches have always told me that I'm really poised. So seems like it just kind of comes naturally to her, but full credit to Darcy there. All right, great job by Mary Hazel Davis to step in and intercept as she anticipated that pass. A couple players go down there, and looked like Mary Hazel Davis lost her shoe, but yeah, that looked like just a coming together of players, but ultimately deemed to be a foul on Davis. And Cougars going to take back over Madeline Curtis with that big, strong hit again. And this one finds the stick of Shield. Sarah Murphy Payne intercepted, but it goes back to Shield. And now the Cougars look to counterattack, and they get it to Callie Rogers. And she is coming at pace. She goes down, and she is going to be awarded a corner. Rogers has been quick to go to ground a couple times.
Yeah,
She
that
just
one.
really put the Titan defenders
Yeah.
under a lot of pressure right there with her pace.
Yeah, that looks like a clean challenge to me, but obviously I'm not an expert on field hockey, so we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I will say when you have the defenders back on their heels and she has so much pace and is so skilled with that ball in her stick, it really just puts a lot of pressure on the defense, as we saw there. And Cougars play in the corner. Good job by Valentina again to kick that one out. It's back outside the circle. Curtis plays it back in the circle, and they look to slip through a little pass. That was an interesting idea there from Mary Catherine Brost as she looked to kind of play the finesse pass, but wasn't quite on the same page as her teammate. I think it was Catherine Rouse she was looking for on that back post, but ball slips out for a Titan possession, and we're now just past the midway point of the second quarter, still scoreless here at Aycock Stadium, but been a really exciting first quarter and a half of play here, Coop.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is what I expected. Two great defenses and two midfields that trust their defense, which means they're willing to push up and really take these hits as opposed to some of the other teams which believed they needed to stop the ball in the midfield.
Yeah, I'm been really impressed with the Cougars. Of course, we know just the winning DNA of this Titan team. But it would, as we sit here now, shock me if this doesn't come down to the final minutes. Just not much to separate these teams right now. And the ball has been more so in Collegiate's offensive half, but in terms of clear-cut chances, really each team's probably had two. Two even kind of half chances. Cougars have, I believe, 3 corners to just 1 for the Titans. So maybe you just give a slight edge to Collegiate so far, but really not much to separate these two teams. Wow, that was a big pacey hit by Izzy Lee. But it does lead to Collegiate getting back onto the offensive half, but well done there by Sarah Jane Ryan. I'm sorry, that's Neely Weinfordner. Correction. Good job by Weinfordner, but now taken back by the Cougars as they look to center it, but Laney Nichols steps in, intercepts, and now Nichols and Curtis. I mean, that's really a battle to watch with a couple seniors, each team's captains, 2 of the strongest players on the field, and that time Nichols gets the benefit of an obstruction call on Curtis, and she looks to Schmicky forward, but well intercepted. But now again, Mary Hazel Davis has intercepted so many balls today. She's really instinctive, and she's also tends to be near the Cougars' number 16, Callie Rogers, and I think the Cougars look for Rogers a lot, so it's natural that Davis is going to be in the mix.
I completely agree. And Mary Hazel Davis also, as we both know, can just run and run and run all day, and that's going to help you in a lot.
Yes.
In a sport where you're required to cover. I mean, I believe they use the same dimensions as soccer field.
Yeah, I mean, I think 100 yards in terms of the length, and then the width is at least as wide as a soccer field, as the Cougars really put it in a dangerous spot. And Valentina Ambrosi Torres did well to get down on that, and she's able to direct it out, and it's going to go up top for Collegiate. And, yeah, to your point, I mean, Mary Hazel Davis is so fit and so fast, just an impact athlete out there for the Titans.
I think here shows one of the things where the Titans normally, when we see them and the opponents would get, I'm not quite sure what they're called, so I'm going to say the non-penalty corner out from the 25. They would leave 1 or 2 players up at the top for the counterattack, but here they're scared enough or respect the Collegiate enough to put all 11 players behind the ball.
Yeah, that's a good observation. As a nice job there by Sarah Murphy Payne. But the Cougars continue to attack Curtis with another one of those patented balls that she just plays in, and it does draw another corner.
Guess it maybe hit the foot.
Yeah,
obstructs it.
looked like it hit a stick, but again, we've got a very, very experienced officiating crew out here, um, and they saw that as a corner. So this is, I believe, the fourth corner for the Cougars. I think it's the first one coming from their right side. So we'll see if that changes anything. As
Yeah,
it,
I wonder what play they're going to use so far. I believe they've had two where it goes back to the original taker,
mhm.
and one where they just put a shot on immediately.
And this one is a shot blocked by Valentina, but it's going to be a backhanded shot saved off the line by Kendall Fleet, and Fleet gets a hug from a couple of teammates, and she flings down that eye mask, that face mask. Like, yeah, you're darn right, I stopped that. That was a great job by Kendall Fleet there, and
Was that her
she's.
second, or was that Darcy on
I
the
thought
first?
it was Darcy on the first, but I could be wrong. It happened pretty fast, but I like Kendall spiked that like a football player who just scored a touchdown. I'm not sure what's happening here. Darcy clearly didn't hear the whistle blow, nor did I, but I guess it does go out to the wing for another collegiate possession. And a good job there by Ava Benson to take it away from Callie Rogers. And it's going to be Titan ball. Really nice defense there by Benson, a more offensive player, but she did a great job there. And Kendall Fleet plays that one all the way across the field to Neely Weinfordner, and Neely now onto the stick of Laney Nichols, and Laney in a good battle there. That is going to be a foul on Amanda Tan, the senior for the Cougars, and that one popped up and a little bit too high of a stick by Schminke.
Yeah.
Another interception for Mary Hazel, and this is going to lead to an opportunity for a counterattack. Sorry to interrupt you there, Coop, but this is a promising attack for the Titans as they've got a couple to aim for. Mary Hazel Davis looked to Ava Benson, but good job by Amani Kimball McCavish to intercept. And still in. No, it did go out. Neely Weinfordner is going to play it in. Sorry, Coop, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think that the Titans really might need to slow down a bit here on these free kicks because it seems like they're trying to rush them, trying to push the counterattack when Collegiate's already back. And I feel like they've had two or three where I just feel like they've wasted their chances, for high sticks, high passes, when they really could probably, they're definitely skilled enough to be able to play it out from the back.
Yeah, well, here's another opportunity, and they hopefully won't rush it here. Ava Benson able to get in a good position. I heard
Looked
someone
like a
from
little
the
obstruction, but
heard someone from the stands yell shoot the ball, and I sort of get that frustration where it does seem like the Titans have been waiting just to get in the perfect spot. And sometimes in a game like this, I mean, we've yet to really test the keeper. As Tucker Walker, the senior captain and goal for the Cougars, has not been forced into a save yet. And we are into the last 20 seconds of the first half as it feels, for me at least, like this half feels like just flown by as we're now down under 10 seconds.
and it
Titans
looks last
looking to
push.
get one last push
Usually you
here,
just
but
get it up there and you just put it on keep.
yeah, and the whistle goes, and it is halftime. So scoreless first half, very compelling, very engaging, really great battle between two super strong teams. But ultimately, we go to the half scoreless, and Coop, let's take a 3-minute break. We'll collect our thoughts, come back and recap the first half, and get you ready for second half action. Thank you for tuning in to TESPN, and we will be back in about 3 minutes for the second half. there. Sarah Murphy Payne, she wins it back. And looking for options, but her pass intended for Schminke is cut out by Sealy Shield. And similar to the first 5 minutes or so of the first half, it's very kind of frantic. Both teams eventually settled in, but I do think the intensity level is even higher from both teams. And sometimes when you have two teams that are evenly matched and both want it so badly, it can become this type of a game where it just feels frantic. But now the Cougars able to get it in, and a great save. Madeline Curtis really struck that well off her backhand side, and Valentina Ambrosi Torres. The Cougars have got to be really sick of her after she made 28 saves in their first contest, and I believe I've got her down for 5 saves so far in this one as we're in the third quarter. Cougars played around the back, and they look to attack down the right side. But Carson Beatty with just a super solid tackle. Beatty now using that speed. Little hesitation there as she slowed down and then accelerated again. And I think that, oh no, that's going to go back to Collegiate. I thought maybe Beatty was obstructed, but they actually call it on her. And Kendall Fleet has it taken off of her stick by Mary Catherine Brost. And the Cougars will take over right in the middle of the field with Callie Rogers. And Callie using those quick moves, but she loses it, but it goes back to Collegiate, and now they give back possession of the Titans. So again, Coop, like I said, the first quarter we saw neither team really able to connect passes. Both teams playing super hard, but just a little bit of unforced errors, or maybe forced errors, to be fair. And then the second period, both teams calmed down a little, connected more passes, and now that we're into quarter number 3, things are just as up-tempo, high-paced, frenetic, maybe a better word than frantic. I think frantic has kind of a negative connotation, but it's not negative. They just both want it so badly. So many talented players out here for both of these squads, and that's a brilliant ball out to the right wing by Callie Rogers up to Sadie Brooks, and the Titans were able to play it out, and it'll come back out top, and Cougars will take possession.
Yeah, and I completely agree about what you were saying earlier about both teams wanting this immensely, because I think this game would be a huge resume boost for both these teams for the state seeding. You know, obviously home field advantage is a huge thing, especially the later you get into the tournament, and having those fans at your back. You know, we here at TSPN like to believe we help even a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think both these teams.
Oh, wow.
This one almost just trickles through there. I'm not quite sure if it would have been called back or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone touched it, so perhaps the Titans knew that it was, since it did not come from inside the circle, they just let that one go, although it looked like it could have been touched. And kind of right on cue, as you and I were talking about earlier, we may have been actually off air when we were talking about how about every 6, 7, 8 minutes the Titans get fresh legs up front as they now bring Ava Benson in for Ellie Johnson, and also Carson Beatty has gotten a break, and she has been replaced by Alice Shirey, and that is a corner for the Cougars. It's going to come from the left side. So Collegiate will have their 5th corner of the game. I believe it was the last one they had in the first half. They created a great goal-scoring opportunity that was saved off the line by Kendall Fleet. So Titans really going to have to be alert to this threat.
We'll see where this one goes. I expect maybe a pass.
Rogers looked to shoot it from out high, but her shot goes just a little bit wide.
We'll see. I am wondering. I feel like at a certain point the Titans might have to switch something up or play with more aggression, like we saw at the end of the first half. Of that second quarter, I felt like they were really starting to click, but they have kind of a repeat of the first half where Collegiate just had a lot of possession, a lot of control so far this half.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to gain just from a territorial standpoint. As early in the half, the ball was in the Titan offensive end a lot, but in the last 3 or 4 minutes, the Cougars have definitely had it more toward their offensive side of things. But as we talked about early, it's going to be really hard to break down either one of these teams against a set defense. So Titans have many players behind the ball, and a nice job there defensively by Ella Shirey as she created that turnover as Ella came in just a couple minutes ago for Carson Beatty. A little bit of a risky ball there that Callie Rogers is able to intercept. That ball was way high in the air. Sarah Jane Ryan did well to knock it down, and Sarah Jane Ryan does really well there to get the steal.
It looks like,
And
yeah.
that ball hit off of the body of Collegiate's number one, Izzy Lee. And now it's 2v2 with a couple Titans and Ava Benson and Lainey Nichols. Oh, what a move by Nichols. And she goes for the shot near post. And that ultimately was saved by Tucker Walker. As probably the first major action that Walker has had so far. That ball looked to be headed into the near post, and Walker was able to get a foot to it. That's a nice ball by Neely Weinfordner out to Schminke. She looks to center it to Lainey Nichols, but it is intercepted nicely. But Weinfordner wins it back, and she'll have a chance to play it in. Good tackle there, though, by the Cougars. That is, looks like number 19. That's Catherine Rouse. She did really well. And, man, it's just hard to even predict which way this is going to go, other than to say whoever scores next, which would also be scoring first, will be in a really great position. I mean, just doesn't feel like this game has a lot of goals in it. You know, you never know. Sometimes that first goal can open things up, but Olivia Schminke getting a rare break. When she comes out, Carson Beatty checks back in, and Weinfordner does well to win that ball. And Weinfordner was able to use her body there. Big ball played forward by Carson Beatty. Will Ava Benson get there and save it? She will. And that's going to be Titan ball out top. Titan ball out top. That was a really good-looking send ahead by Carson Beatty. That ball probably traveled a good 40 yards at least. And Ava Benson was able to get on the end of it and keep it in Titan hands. And now Sarah Murphy-Payne back to Beatty. And Beatty carries it in. Beatty, great moves. But Izzy Lee this time did make the steal and connects a great pass out to Mary Catherine Brost. And now the Cougars look to counter.
And this game's been back and forth. It's same as the first half, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Definitely more connected. I feel like those first 10, 15 minutes were really probably a lot of nerves, knowing you're playing such a good opponent. But now this is both teams at their best.
Yep.
Connecting passes, making moves, pushing forward. This is what you want to see in a Trinity versus Collegiate hockey game.
And it's going to be another corner for the Cougars as that ball came off the foot of, I'm not sure if it was Weinfordner or Ryan, but another Cougar corner. Their last corner, Callie Rogers shot it just wide.
And about a minute left in this third quarter. Probably going to be one of the last chances. Probably one of the last chances in the third quarter here. And we're really going to see if the Collegiate can make one of these corners count.
Well, they do a nice job there, switching it over to the right side. And it looks like it's going to result in another corner. I think.
I guess it must have clipped off a foot.
Maybe high stick.
40 seconds left now, so.
Yeah, Cougars taking their time
I
here.
This is the 7th corner they've had.
Yeah, 7th corner they've had.
Great defense. I'd say one of them led to a shot, but every other one of them really has been defended well by the Titans.
Yeah, this one comes out and a little bit of confusion, but now Curtis is able to spin it back. Really nice defending there. by Mary Hazel Davis. And now a lot of Titans behind the ball. And
Not that looked like it was off and on a foul on Neely Weinfordner, but
yeah, and
ah,
into
maybe a little bit of luck there for the Titans as
yeah.
they
So
do get the
that
break
was
of the quarter.
interesting. So Weinfordner got called for the foul, and then she sent the ball way forward. And by the time the Cougars were able to retrieve it, the quarter essentially had expired. So um, probably a little bit of gamesmanship there, but smart play by the junior Neely Weinfordner. And here we go into a fourth quarter where this is truly anyone's game, still scoreless. But again, as we keep saying, not lacking in excitement. Just two teams that badly want to win, fully committed to their cause, and the tension. I don't know if it fully comes through in the stream, but the tension here at Aycock Stadium is palpable. And I mentioned back when the game started that by the late going that most of this field would be covered in shadows, and I feel like if anything on this late October afternoon that adds even more to just the overall atmosphere as the shadows are cast across the field. The game is tied. Uh, Neither team subbing a whole lot right now as the Titans have gone a little bit deeper, made a few substitutions. The Cougars have barely used their massive bench at all, as they have an army over there with a roster of over 30 players, but really pretty much been the starters from minute one through these first three quarters for the Cougars.
Yeah, and that has to make you wonder. I mean, obviously they're well conditioned to be able to do this, but will this backfire? Maybe not go into the pit stop enough times. They're gonna run out of gas right here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, at least the weather conditions really couldn't be better. I mean, even from our vantage point, it doesn't look like players are sweating too much. So you don't think dehydration would be a huge factor, but the legs could start to get a little heavy. And you called that from early on that with two very competitive, even teams, that fitness would be a big factor. And we'll find out because this last part of the game is when that fitness advantage, if one team has it, it will play itself out. Um, yes, I believe that it goes to 7-on-7. So they remove a few players off the field, open things up a little bit. But yes, there would be overtime. I think it's a 10-minute overtime should the deadlock remain. I know in postseason play, at that point, then they go to strokes, similar to kind of like penalty kicks in soccer. But in a regular season game, they maybe would end in a tie if it were still tied after overtime. But we still have a long way to go before. I mean, it's a very good question to ask, and I'm sure some of our viewers may have that same question. So if it remains deadlocked, I'm almost positive that yes, there would be overtime. But having said that, we have two teams that are going to want to try and end this thing in regulation, and we
Complete.
I was just gonna say we're off for quarter number 4 now. Here we go. It is winning time for the Collegiate Cougars or the Trinity Episcopal Titans. Who will strike first? And if one team does strike, will there even be enough time for the other to come back? Just it feels like a game that the first goal is going to be beyond crucial. Mary
Yeah.
Hazel Davis, she's been excellent today, and she wins that ball and uses her wheels to create, gets it onto the stick of Olivia Schmicky, and wow, she played it into the middle there. Lainey Nichols was in the vicinity, and
And this
it's a
feels
good
like
at least half
yeah,
chance right there.
this feels like another one of those games where neither team satisfied with the draw, as you always love to see.
Yeah.
But another thing is really how well, sorry, how well the Titans are going to be able to move the ball forward. We've already seen Collegiate have 7 or 8 corners,
Yeah.
but Trinity still only had one.
Yeah.
And I feel like outside of maybe at this point, 3 or 4 runs, they've been really limited in getting the ball into the final third. So I wonder how that is going to change throughout the rest of this game.
Yeah, they have it in the final third here, and Mary Hazel Davis again is able to create as she has really been a difference maker. And I believe it is going to be that second corner of the game, Coop. So you just asked the question, what could the Titans do to create those opportunities? And they now have earned their second corner.
Yeah, and although at the beginning of this game I called this to be a 2-1 Titans victory, that's looking less and less likely by the second, and I feel like now's the time. Jump on the bandwagon. I think it's going to probably be a 1-0 game.
Yeah, it has a feel of a 1-0 for sure, but we'll see what's able to happen here as the corner comes out to Mary Hazel Davis. She gets it into the circle. She gets into shooting position, and it's gonna be
That not hit off anyone.
yeah. I guess it just went out. It's a little tough to see from this angle, but it looked like Davis tried to shoot that. She got a little elevation on it, but it goes just wide, and the Cougars avoid the threat for now.
Yeah. And we'll see. I think really this game's going, especially for the Titans. I feel like this game's really going to come down to how well Olivia Schminke and Lainey Nichols can have a playmaking opportunity here.
Yeah, and I believe when these teams met 2 weeks ago, that as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I believe it was 0-0 heading into the fourth quarter, and it was Lainey Nichols who scored the go-ahead goal in quarter number 4, and then the Titans added a second in the last minute, which I think that, if I remember correctly, was Carson Beatty. I don't have it in front of me right now. And Beatty plays it to Schminke. She looks to slip it through, and that ball went right across the goal line.
Saw the hands up, and I thought it was a goal there for a second.
Yeah,
Don't have the best angle from the
no, we don't. But that was certainly one of the best opportunities of the game. And as this fourth quarter has entered, or I should say, as we've entered this fourth quarter, the Titans have stepped up their level of play, probably to a level we've yet to see today. I think this first 4 minutes of quarter number 4, if the ball is crossed into the Titan defensive half, I don't remember it. They actually voluntarily put it into their own half now just to establish some possession and spread the field a little bit.
You
and
know,
they
and the other thing,
do nicely just to shift it over to the right to Neely Weinfordner. Go ahead, Coop.
the other thing I was going to say, we were talking about how Trinity and this game might come down to who subbed them more for the freshness, but another thing to bring up is that Titans have not subbed, I don't think, any defenders this game.
No, they
really just reserved it for the attackers.
Yeah, and that was a crucial play there because there was a card there for the Cougars number 1, Izzy Lee. Not sure if she said something to the ref, if she spoke back. I didn't. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what it could have been. It didn't seem like anything physical, but that's going to put Lee into the penalty box here for a couple minutes and give the Titans a man advantage. And also, Lee has been a really strong player. So just her mere presence on the bench, or rather, in that penalty box, is certainly not something the Cougars are going to be too happy with. And now Collegiate does sub as they bring Sadie Brooks in for Stella Smigelski. Brooks had played earlier, so I think Smigelski started this fourth quarter for her first action of the game. Although her sister Kate Smigelski has been out there. And that is Callie Rogers showing off her impressive stick skills, and now she looks to play the ball over to Sealy Shield, and now the Cougars look to attack up their right side, but Kendall Fleet intercepts.
It looks like it went off the foot.
Yeah, I thought it had gone off the foot as well, but deemed not to have, and the Cougars now do get numbers forward as we have 9.5 minutes to go, and the Cougars get a corner.
We'll see how this goes. So far, Titans have defended pretty well against the corners.
They
I
have.
wonder if they're going to switch up the play. So far, they've been putting a lot to the person in the back and then having them try to just put a power shot on, and Titans have been defending it. I'd say specifically Mary Hazel Davis has been defending it very well, and the counterattacks have been open. So I wonder if they're just going to switch it up just to mess with the Titans a little bit, see if they can get something a little bit more open, and try to put the ball in the back of the cage.
Yeah, here it goes. That corner played in to Callie Rogers. and her effort was able to draw another corner, and now Izzy Lee is able to check back in. She served that 2-minute penalty, and Lee's going to take this corner as a
Yeah,
I think
she was their corner taker before.
she was. So she had not been able to obviously take the last corner as she was serving the rest of that penalty, but now Lee is back in, and the Cougars have to feel good about having their normal penalty taker for their, I believe, ninth corner of the game. Again, it's Lee to Rogers to Lee, and her shot goes just wide. She really looked for that acute angle and put it into the outside of the cage. And that is now 9 collegiate corners, and they've yet to capitalize. And I believe I mentioned this stat earlier today, but I was told that in the previous meeting between these two teams, the Cougars had 17 corners, but ultimately were shut out. Mary Hazel Davis again brings it forward, and she gets tripped up from behind. She's able to quickly hop up and plays that ball. What a shot! Just over by Olivia Schminke as she got tremendous power. She tried to lift that. She threw her hands to her head as if to say, like, oh, I can't believe I missed it. But, I mean, the skill that she was trying to pull off there was a difficult one to say the least. But if anyone can do it, it's Olivia Schminke. But just missed out on that one. And we now are into the last 7 minutes of this contest, the second half of the fourth quarter, the final eighth of the regulation, if you will. And Neely Weinfortner intercepts. Neely Weinfortner brings it forward. And Neely Weinfortner in the battle now that she wins, but she went quickly and was intercepted by Izzy Lee. But now Lee getting a little bit frustrated with her young teammate, Kate Smigelski, that they weren't quite on the same page there.
Yeah, it looks like they had that back pass to Sarah Jane Ryan.
Yeah, so they play it back to Sarah Jane Ryan. She goes back to Kendall Fleet as the Cougars look to pressure her, but nice poise per usual by Fleet. And she's been a real key today as she saved one of the best chances of the game off the line in the first half. And now Sarah Jane Ryan, that ball is able to slip past her for just a second, but Sarah Jane plays it out wide, but Kate Smigelski is going to keep it in. And Smigelski looks to center it, but well read there by Ella Shirey, and Shirey gets it right in stride to Olivia Schminke, and Schminke now able to stretch her legs. She looks for Lainey Nichols, and the Cougars content just to play that one out to the line, and they actually did save it. That was well done there by number 26, Maria Bonwell. I thought that ball was going to go out, but Bonwell saved it and then played it off of Nichols' stick, and so Cougar ball.
Yeah, we'll see. I feel like also Carson Beatty, we haven't said her name as much because she hasn't scored, unlike usual, actually. But
yeah,
she's been doing great work on that, I guess, our right-hand side, our near side.
Yeah, Beatty's been really good in the second half, and especially early this fourth quarter, she created a lot. And even when she came in for Schminke, of course, with Schminke going to the bench, you worried it would be a big drop-off, but Beatty played great. And now Schminke back in, as well as Beatty and Nichols and Mary Hazel Davis, all up in the attack. Some of the strongest players on the Titan team. That's got to be a corner as that went off the foot of the collegiate player. Under 5 minutes to go.
This
Titan
is where
corner
heroes are made right here.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it's all about, and this is why we're so excited here on TESPN to be able to bring you all this action.
We'll see where this ball goes. My prediction is it's either going to Schminke or Nichols. I think they're the two best shot takers on the Titans. I don't see how you play it anywhere else unless you think you have a great opportunity.
Yeah, so it looks like I think it's Ella Shirey that's going to take the corner. Shirey plays it back to Nichols, over to Darcy Copson as she looks to center it, but it was well read by Callie Rogers, and Collegiate defended that really well. Credit to the Cougars there, and now before you know it, they've got the ball across midfield. So good job there by the Cougars, but now Kendall Fleet plays it ahead beautifully to Laney Nichols in space. Laney Nichols trying to get a shot off. Oh my
Oh.
golly, that was powerfully shot, but that goes just wide. And the Titans have definitely created more scoring opportunities here in the second half. I think they're going to say that was deflected, and thus it's going to be Titan ball out top. Um, uh, and that's really well done by Beatty, but then she's dispossessed by Izzy Lee. And that did, I think, go off of Beatty's foot. All right, so
We'll see. About 3 minutes left here.
yeah,
Ooh, yeah, it looks like a little bit of.
Madeline Curtis brought it out of the back, and she was impeded there. So Cougars will keep the ball here, as we do, as you just said, go under 3 minutes to go. And that ball popped up onto the track. Hey, Jackson Hart, cross-country captain, able to make a nice play and catch that ball. He's got a lacrosse stick in one hand. That was very athletic-looking play there by the senior cross-country captain, Jackson Hart. Hey, check out Jackson on our TESPN podcast from a couple weeks ago. We had a great interview with him, and you can find that on our network on YouTube. All right, Cougars look to play a big one. That ball has traveled 50 yards, but Sarah Jane Ryan does a nice job to possess it, play it up to Carson Beatty, who makes a great move, gets past Izzy Lee, but Lee is sprinting back, and great effort by Lee. Oh, what a move by Schminke. She gets in front of the goal. She's not able to slot that through, but this chance is still on as Carson Beatty. Ball is sitting there, and it's a goal!
Oh,
it's a goal! Wow!
Laney Nichols
Laney
off the
Nichols
deflection.
with 2 minutes exactly on the clock. Laney Nichols scores. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
You can't say it hasn't been coming.
No, you
I
can't
don't
say
think I expected it to happen like that, though.
you can't say it hasn't been coming. Carson Beatty and Olivia Schminke did brilliantly to get that ball in front of the cage. Cougars not able to deal with it, but I want to go back to when Carson Beatty received that ball about 40 yards out, the move that she put on
An absolute beauty
to be able to get past one of the Cougars' really talented players in Izzy Lee, and then Beatty was able to get it centered before Lee could fully recover. Great stuff there, and the Titans take a 1-0 lead as we have about a minute 40 left, but the Cougars looking to come back, and they've now got it right in front with an opportunity. And it is going to be Titan ball. So chance for the Titans to catch their breath, push some numbers out, but I think they don't want to get too far up. Nice job by Fleet up onto the stick of Schminke, and it's again going to be Titan ball. Wow, Schminke just played that ball. I mean, from her own half, it went all the way across the end line through the football end zone. That ball must have traveled from Schminke's stick about 80 yards.
Yeah.
And now the Cougars trying to get it back in play.
I'm sure you can guess the directions that Coach Snee gave it to him. Either carry that into the box
or just play it out. Mary Hazel Davis looks to bring it back in. Mary Hazel Davis goes to ground there. And now the Cougars come in forward with numbers. And it is stolen away, though, by Kendall Fleet. And it's going to be Titan ball. Great job recovering. Fleet pops it up. Nichols receives. And we're into just over 20 seconds left. The Titans may have to just avoid one more counter from the Cougars here. And Darcy Copsonis does lose it. I thought I heard a whistle, but no. Mary Hazel Davis intercepts again. How many interceptions does she have today? Mary Hazel Davis plays it up the line.
My player of the game. At the end of the game.
And that is it. The Titans hang on for what a win. What a game. I want to give a lot of credit to Collegiate. They played very well.
Nothing the goalkeeper could do. I think Tucker Walker had 2 saves before it went in on the end.
Yeah. just that it just felt like the Titans. I mentioned the phrase "winning DNA" a little bit earlier in the broadcast, and you just saw it there as Beatty, Davis, Schminke, Nichols, in terms of the attacking players, just lifted their play in the fourth quarter, and then and the defense held firm, led by Sarah Jane Ryan, Sarah Murphy Payne, Kendall Fleet, of course, Valentina Ambrosi Torres made the clean sheet on a day when the Cougars had 9 corners. A lot of, well, not a lot, but a fair amount of opportunities. That was just really exciting contest. And it's all said and done. The Titans are able to preserve their undefeated record within the league. They stay at the top of the LIS standings and look to solidify that number 2 spot in the state rankings, just behind Norfolk Academy, who, of course, did beat the Titans 4-3 in overtime down at Norfolk earlier this year. So, Cooper, as we wrap up this thrilling broadcast, what are some final thoughts that you have?
I think this was a great test for the Titans. I think they really needed it to show how they could handle a more aggressive team like the Cougars showed to be. And I think that this is going to be a real help in the state seeding. I think this is going to be a great win on the resume. And Hamlin, who would you say your 2 players of the game were?
You're looking for one from each team?
Yeah.
So let me start with Collegiate. I thought for me in the first half it was Madeline Curtis. She was really strong in that center defensive role, and I thought she did an excellent job of nullifying Lainey Nichols and Olivia Schminke in the first half. So I'm going to give her a first half player of the game. Second half, I think Callie Rogers, number 16. The Titans did a nice job for the most part containing Rogers, but there were a few times when she was able to get some space, get the ball in her stick, and you just saw her skills and her quickness. Really impressive, the sophomore. So those two really stood out for me on the collegiate team. And then for the Titans, I think Mary Hazel Davis. I mean, she from the beginning, even when the Titans weren't necessarily playing their very best hockey, I thought Mary Hazel Davis was intercepting. She was making life hard on Rogers and the other attacking players. And if you look at in terms of Mary Hazel Davis, she did a lot defensively, but she also created a lot offensively. So she gets my player of the game. Yeah, how about you, Coop?
I would have to agree with you on the collegiate front. I think my player of the game might even be Darcy Kopsenis. I feel like we didn't say her name as much, but every time she had the ball, I feel like even in the first half, she was one of the probably the fewer Titan players who I don't think she had a wasted pass.
Mm-hmm.
She did not force herself to speed up and make unnecessary through balls. She really was a solid base for that Titans in the first half, and she continued that in the second half when we started rolling like we tend to do with field hockey.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I mean, Darcy is not maybe going to be one that ends up on the stat sheet as much compared to some of the other players, but her poise on the ball, and like you said, for me also as a soccer coach, one thing I always am very attentive to is what player continuously connects passes. They don't turn the ball over. You know, if the ball's on in soccer their foot or in hockey their stick, that you can pretty much guarantee it's going to end up on with a teammate. And I think that was Darcy Copson today. She, in a game that both teams, frankly, had a lot of turnovers, just with the frenetic style of play, with the intensity of play, Darcy had very few turnovers for sure. So I think that's a good shout. So that's a couple sophomores getting our hat tips as players of the game with Mary Hazel Davis and Darcy Copson. But definitely can't forget Lainey Nichols. Ultimately scored that winning goal, and thankfully for Trinity, she did. And also Carson Beatty and Olivia Schminke had a huge role. I'm actually not sure which one gets the assist. Beatty kind of brought it into the
I
in
believe
there. And
I
then
might not even be an assist
yeah,
because of how it hit off the
yeah,
collegiate
Schminke
player.
just kind of played it in a dangerous spot, and the ball just sat there for a minute. Who would get it? And it was Lainey Nichols. She used that instinct. She knew what to do with it. So credit to all of them though, and a really great win, a really exciting win. And I think this was our last, at least on the schedule, regular season field hockey broadcast. But the Titans are able to host some postseason games, I think, hopefully will be able to broadcast those. And with this win today, the chances of the Titans hosting at a minimum an LIS semifinal, I think, is just about sewn up. And if they're able to win at St. Catherine's, which I think is next week, then I believe that would clinch the regular season LIS title and home field throughout the LIS for them. So we'll sign off with that. Our next TESPN broadcast is coming up in just 2 days' time. Boys soccer, senior day. And I believe, Coop, it's going to be you and I for the first half.
Yep.
And then I'll be excusing myself at halftime to head up to Charlottesville for some women's soccer with our girls team. A fun-filled field trip for us, and you'll take it home that day. So,
Yeah, should be fun.
so that's going to be a historic day in TESPN's history with the first student-only broadcasting, I believe. So looking forward to that for sure. But final score today: Trinity Episcopal 1, Collegiate Cougars 0. And thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.